Resolution and standing to the national anthem. And with your heart, ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see why the early high was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the sky, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets crackling, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free, and the hope of the brave.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful job.
We're now holding a meeting of the Lakeside Union School District. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of the officers determined at the stations and report back to Madam President. The Sentinel, station by the door. Your duty there. Through the store, space for the look. It is my duty to see that the door is open and that they are welcome. I assist the president in maintaining order and make sure the room is comfortable. The reporter, stationed by the flag. Fly by the flag, as the flag of the United States of America, so as stretching from the people, know that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that ranges from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Hawaii to Maine. The treasurer,
Stationed at the emblem of Washington,
your duties there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary,
Stationed by the ear of corn,
your duties there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members need. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. We follow the leadership of our president through the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their station.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The secretary will call the roll of members.
There are numerous members and numerous guest presidents. Madam President,
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
to practice brotherhood,
honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which FFA members should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Lakeside Union School District duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented.
At this time, our leadership team would like to give the board a short presentation about some of the events we've been hosting over the past few months. And we begin with,
Throughout the year, we host monthly chapter meetings where we present old business and new business, and we hold a fun activity for all members that attend.
Past meetings have included activities such as obstacle courses, pumpkin painting, dodgeball tournament, and gingerbread house making. My favorite event that we have put on was the dodgeball tournament because it was a great way to get kids, other members of our chapter, involved and get to dive deeper into theater.
My favorite activity that we host at a chapter meeting is the first chapter meeting, which we held in obstacle course. It was my favorite because the members got to game with their friends and they got to practice teamwork and leadership.
Now we will have Natalie Allen, our chapter vice president, and Jacob Schultz Sentinel present. Our chapter has raised $2,400 from fundraisers. Our first fundraiser, we did Latino coffee. Members of our chapter gave us addresses of family and friends. And we used to go up to their houses and put tomatoes in their houses. Each night, a couple of our FFA chapter members in this line would go to each house and put tomatoes in the yard, as Jacob said. And sometimes we got caught multiple times. And we have an upcoming event as well. In January, we will host a pancake breakfast to raise money for the state conference. Now, we would like to introduce Thomas, a leadership member that will now speak. I am going to speak about the conferences that we held in the FFA. So during these conferences, we have fun workshops and activities that will help us become.
He's got it. Yes, we got it.
And fun activities that help us become better leaders and friends, as well as better people in general. My favorite conference was the Discovery Conference. It was the first conference that we went to, and as well as the activities were very enjoyable. And I believe that everybody was there, at least most of the people who were there, had a nice time and learned a lot. And another thing that I liked about the Discovery Conference is the shirts. We got good shirts. I like the shirts. Now, Brody Hall, our treasurer, and Sam Merriman, our secretary, will be presenting.
Lakeside Middle FFA has participated in many public speaking events, such as the opening and closing ceremonies contest and the creed contest. My favorite contest was the opening and closing ceremonies contest because it gave us the opportunities to present in front of a large audience. And I was fortunate enough to receive Outstanding Officer out of our Out of our leadership team,
my favorite contest was the Creed contest. Personally, I thought this contest would be really fun, and it was. At the section FFA Creed contest, I placed second overall, and another member of our chapter placed first overall. And we will be representing Lakeside Middle FFA and San Diego section FFA in the regional FFA Creed contest. We will now introduce Peyton Gray, our reporter.
The state conference, Lakeside Middle FFA will be attending the California State Conference in March of 2022. Ms. Lent and 20 Lakeside Middle FFA members have the opportunity to travel to Sacramento to hear from motivational speakers, attend leadership workshops, view the state talent show, and state band performance, and become further immersed in the world of FFA. I would like to invite Ms. Lent to give a special presentation for me.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to the board for your support of our students. These events that we have hosted throughout the year will be thoughtful. There's also a kind of member of our district that we'd like to thank you. As many of you know, we have a school garden, a medical unit that we have been building up and restoring over the past year, which we COVID and innovation. The maintenance department has made huge help in helping our students not only restore the parks, but making sure that they actually learn the operations of the garden and took the time to show them the many different tools and materials that they use out there to students be able to actually manage it themselves. So our students harvested fruit from the garden, brought some of the candy to them as well, and lovely clothes that they made. That they like to present to us a gift for our farm maintenance department. Thank you. On behalf of the maintenance department, they accept you guys.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Can we get a picture or something? Actually, if the board members would come in and get in as well. That's probably
Discussion. You have a picture with David. Team, I'd like to get a picture with. And stab around, take a. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, smile.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You guys.
Okay, now is the time where we will select a president. Do I have any motion to?
I'll make a motion to nominate Andrew Kays as president. I did.
we have a second?
Can I second the motion?
Sure,
Second.
I think. Okay, a second. Is there any discussion? Well then, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That was all of us saying aye anyway. All right, now is the time for us to select a vice.
Oh.
This mic on too?
Andrew, turn your big mic on.
Oh, the big mic.
Okay. Andrew was nominated and vote for 5-0 to be. Now we need nominations for vice president.
I make a motion to nominate Laura Moyer for vice president.
Do we have a second?
Courtesy second for discussion.
I think Don's trying to turn his mic on.
I was gonna say I'll second.
Yeah, that was, I could see him doing that. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And for clerk,
I make a motion to nominate Bonnie LaChapa for clerk.
Bonnie, you still want to be, oh, we have to have a second first. I'll second it. You want to, do you still want to be the clerk? Sure. All right. Yeah. Any more discussion about the clerk? Well, then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, so that's it. So now we'll play Chinese five. Dylan, move on. Bring.
Take your name tag in.
Oh, geez.
Oh, I gotta keep moving. Yeah, I can't carry everything at once. Don, you just stay right there. We have to start ourselves. Yeah, I'm good.
I want to thank my colleagues. Thank you. Appreciate that your support. And I want to give a round of applause for Holly for her service. Thank you, Holly. And we will turn it over to Principal Steve Mole from LMS.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, board members, administrators, and guests. This is our opportunity to update you on things going on at Lakeside Middle School. I'll keep it brief and just share some of the things that have been going on recently. And if I can get my PowerPoint to work. There we go. One of the new additions this year at Lakeside Middle School is we have added an advanced math course that is different than the traditional advanced classes that compact the curriculum and give students less. This actually covers the entire 8th grade curriculum in one semester because they have it for 2 periods. So they're just now finishing the 8th grade, but there are no gaps. The research tells us that kids that have gaps in middle school tend to do maybe okay at the first year or 2 of high school, but then in higher math, they struggle because of those gaps. So we are trying this program this year and we'll be monitoring it very closely to see how these students perform. starting in semester 2, right after the break, they will be doing the high school integrated 1 for 2 periods a day and cover the entire integrated 1 in 8th grade. So they can start out with integrated 2 at the beginning of high school. And the great thing about this is that it's open to any student that would like to participate. They don't have to have a certain grade point average or anything, because if they struggle, they could easily go back into a regular 8th grade math class and not be behind. There will not be any gaps. The other math class that we're offering this year that's new is one that is integrated with Project Lead the Way. So Mr. Dungan has taken the science concepts from Project Lead the Way and is teaching the 8th grade math through that. So that's another unique one that we will look at the data at the end of the year to see how these kids perform. Our science classes, well, science, I think, was one of the areas that struggled the most during COVID, during distance learning and during when the kids were there half-time. It was extremely difficult to do hands-on science and do science the way it should be taught with the 3-dimensional learning model that we learned through NGSS. So our students now are using this model. The great thing about it is we have 3 different science opportunities for kids at Lakeside Middle School. They can choose the traditional science, engineering science, or the FFA science, which they all cover the same disciplinary core ideas and the same science practices and the same cross-cutting concepts, but they use different phenomena. So our engineering course uses phenomena from engineering. Our FFA uses phenomena from farming or agriculture. And that way they still cover all the concepts necessary in science, and they're able to do it through these various forms. Our band and orchestra program is doing phenomenal now that they're back live. It was extremely difficult during distance learning and the hybrid model, as you can imagine. Mr. Justison has done a great job, but all of our arts programs really had difficulty during distance learning, but they are all coming back. Our drama program will be performing Jungle Book and Singing in the Rain. We're really looking forward to that. We will be having our art, our visual art. You can see that all around the room, is alive and well. And one of the great things we've added just a few years ago was digital art, and it's really, really grown. Many kids have been working on this. It's very exciting to go in the class and see the kids working on video editing and all this kind of stuff that I really don't understand. And they explain it to me. It's really great. And we do have Ms. Santana, who's going to tell us a little bit about our immersion program, along with Gavin.
So our immersion program, the Spanish and Chinese immersion program at Lakeside Middle School offers Mandarin, Spanish literature, and Spanish social studies. The immersion program provides opportunities for students to continue their rigorous language program from elementary. It also provides opportunities for students to continue developing their home language, whether it be in Spanish or Chinese or Mandarin. Qualifying students receive their stated seal of biliteracy in 8th grade and are prepared for success in advanced placement and Spanish language and Spanish literature courses in high school, as well as the high school California state seal of biliteracy. Research shows that as a result of immersion, students gain additional cognitive, academic, and employment benefits. This is evident in our current and former immersion students. Here with us today is Gavin Lowry, an 8th grader at Lakeside Middle School in our Spanish and immersion program.
Okay, hello, my name is Gavin, or in Spanish and Mandarin, hola, mi nombre es Gavin, and ni hao, 我的名字是艾文. I'm attending Lakeside Middle School in both the Spanish programs and the Mandarin enrichment program. In my experience as a trilingual learner at LMS, learning English, Spanish, and Mandarin has changed my life in a really positive way, I think, because it's helped me develop in so many other skills. I'm in band, and I also take Project Lead the Way Science. and I can see the skills I'm learning in immersion applied to those topics. And I'm really thankful for the program and for the opportunity to be able to use the skills that I'm learning in the Spanish and Mandarin programs for my future. Soy un estudiante en Lakeside Middle School en los programas de español y mandarín. Y mi experiencia en este programa de inmersión de un estudiante que aprende tres diferentes idiomas, inglés, español y mandarín, cambió mi vida en una manera positiva. Así, este programa me ha ayudado a desarrollar muchas habilidades que puedo aplicar a la banda y la ciencia avanzada que tengo y muchos otros temas. Y siento muy agradecido por la oportunidad de ser parte de este programa y que puede influir mi futuro en una manera positiva.
You translate into the Spanish. And Mandarin later on, just let me know.
We got to see Gavin perform today also in band, and he's an amazing student. And in Project Lead the Way, we got to see him do some amazing things along with his peers. We also have an English language learner program at LMS. Some of our English language learners are also in our immersion classes developing both their native language and English language. It is beautiful to see native Spanish speakers and immersion students working together developing their language skills. This year, we're piloting inside the USA middle school curriculum to provide essential language and literacy skills in our newly arrived students. We are also piloting Lexia English language development. This is an adaptive blended learning program used to support emergent bilingual students' English language acquisition. Our English language learners are also using Lexia Power Up Literacy this year. This is new. This is an online personalized learning program for students 6th through 12th grade that is being used to help address individual skill gaps and impact English reading proficiencies. And of course, we're going to be gathering all that data to be able to look how these programs are working in our classrooms. These programs are being used in our English language development classrooms to help provide targeted and differentiated instruction to meet the students' individualized needs, and allows our teachers to be able to provide that differentiated instructions in small groups.
Okay. And I just want to say in closing that we are doing some fantastic things at Lakeside Middle School, and it is really due to that the entire LMS staff, classified and certificated, they were way, way, way beyond any expectation to make the learning experiences absolutely phenomenal for these students. And of course, Gavin and all of those kids really make it for us too. Thank you, Gavin. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mole. I just want to speak to the math program. I loved seeing when I went to see the math at LMS, the integrated math that they were working on, and they were doing skimmers that day that I was walking through the classrooms. It was a lot of fun. The kids you could see they were really enjoying mixing math principles with science. And so I loved doing that.
Really excited about making math relevant, because we all know math is really only the language of science. You really need nothing, right? It's really the language of something else.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for comments, Mr. Mole?
I just know you were much happier hearing all the kids.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mole. All right, we will move on to trustee reports. So Clerk LaChapa. While Bonnie does that, Trustee Ferrante, would you like to give an update? All right, Trustee Wiseman.
Put my mic on. I'm going to say a lot of the stuff that Holly did. I also went by the Winter Wonderland at Lindo Park, and it was really fun to drive around and see all the displays and all the kids in the holiday. Got us all in the holiday spirit. I also enjoyed the band performances and the drum line and the percussion, especially at TDS. And they do need, hopefully their facility will be finished soon because they didn't have the best, but the kids did a great job. Also, LMS's show choir and chorus did a wonderful job. I saw that. And yesterday it was really fun coming by the English learner reclassification, how proud the kids, a lot of hard work for kids to become English proficient. And it was kind of like a drive-by, but it was nice. Kids were given a medal, a certificate, because it is a hard work learning a second language. And just like Mr. Mull said about the kids learning Mandarin or learning Spanish, these kids are now going to be bilingual and maybe will get a syllabi literacy. And we know that it will help them in the future with employment and other things. It helps their success. And also, I didn't attend the CSBA conference. CSBA stands for California School Boards Association Conference. I think all the members attended. I attended virtually, so they videotaped sessions and I watched them for 2 days, kind of in the comfort of my own home. They had really good guest speakers and a lot of learning. And I think at a retreat, we might be sharing with each other some of the things that we learned going to the conference. And so I really appreciated that opportunity.
Thank you, Trustee Wiseman. Clerk LaChappa, are you back on?
I think so. Yeah. Okay, I'm good. All right. I just wanted to first thank Holly for her service, and we're a good board, and I look forward to Andrew as president. But I just wanted to say that I enjoyed Holly's service, and I look forward to what Andrew's going to bring to the table. And then I did attend Lindo Park's Winter Extravaganza. It was a drive-through event. The parents and the PTA and the teachers worked really hard to give it a great event. It was a lot of fun. And then I wanted to thank everyone who participated in the Spirit of Christmas. I know that our facilities department has to
set up the stage. And thank you to all the teachers that brought the kids out to perform. It was a cold night, so it really did feel like winter. It was a great event and it was well attended. So I was really happy with that. And then I also wanted to thank all of our schools that participated, which everyone did. I picked up letters from everyone. I was given a task, handed down a task to collect letters for the troops. And last year, the lady that did it gathered probably 1,800. I think this year we had over 5,000 letters that I was able to take down to the USO down by the airport and send them off to the troops that are stationed in various locations. So I just wanted to thank all the teachers and the school secretaries that made that happen for me. So when the lady calls me to see if I did a good job, I get to tell her I did a good job. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk LaChapa. Vice President Hofer Moyer.
Thank you. So I attended, all those same fun, great events all the schools have been having. Besides, the Spirit of Christmas was amazing this year. It was great to see all the crowds out. Besides those ones that we all attended, I also attended, LMS had their winter semi-formal that I volunteered at this year. LCAP did their first community event that they're hoping to make a yearly thing where they covered some of the hallways and lights and had booths, and that was nice. There was a good crowd of people there as well, so that was very nice. I attended on the other side, the anti-mask vaccine rally down in Balboa Park. Andrew spoke there, so I went in support of him and support everybody else in the families like mine. And then I've been out this week talking to community members about the resolution that we have on our agenda today. So we've been busy doing those things.
Thank you. Okay, well, my report is similar. I want to second Bonnie's motion on Holly's service. If it was a vote, it'd be 5-0. So thank you for, again, Holly. I wanted to mention, I went to CSBA as well, and I was there 2 days before the real fun conference because I'm a delegate for Delegate Assembly, and we go through it. That's basically the governing body of the School Boards Association at the state level, and the School Board Association works with our legislature and our governor to sort of help school districts through some of the challenges that we're facing. And so you can imagine it was a very, very robust discussion those 2 days. And so they talked about the legislative priorities moving forward into the new year in the legislative session, and talking about how we might be able to advocate for some of the windfall that's being proposed at the state level of a $31 billion budget surplus, and see maybe how that can translate into schools. And so among numerous issues that were discussed. So I enjoyed that quite a lot. I also really want to thank the Chamber for the Spirit of Christmas event. It was so nice to be back and have that event occur again. It was great to see the kids perform. It was fun because Mr. Mole and all the performing students from LMS and TDS were there in the corner near Bob's. And I went over there, and when the dancers were about to come up, we needed to push the crowd back. And so, because they were all so close up, and Mr. Mole had to think that I was a security guard. I was wearing a long jacket. And so there's, oh, I'm a security guard. I thought that was fun. And then I just want to say I went to the calendar committee, and I really appreciate all of their hard work on building a district calendar. There are so many moving pieces in a district calendar. And so I want to thank them for their hard work and attention to that. And then I want to thank the FFA who was here tonight, all of our students. We are one of the few districts, elementary school districts, that has an FFA. So I'm really proud of that. So thank you. Okay. And now we will move to public comments on any items for the board on this agenda. On this agenda.
Would you mind putting a microphone up for the public comments, so that way people online can hear them as well? I know there's a couple microphones up front that aren't being used.
Do we have the capability to do that, Lisa?
I think that's as
Is
close.
it too far?
We can,
While they're working on that, I want to remind the public that we appreciate your comments, and we want to hear you. You have a 4-minute time limit, and we cannot respond to you. So if you have questions for the board, we can't respond here in this forum, but there are numerous other ways that you can contact us in the future if you have questions. So I want to make that clear. We cannot respond to you through public comment. No worries. Thank you, Andrew. And if it's too much trouble, I think we can, James, we can't hear you when you speak. So they can hear it. You can hear it through here. We can hear it. Okay, well, it looks like we got it. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll begin public comment. Lisa?
Is Susie here? I don't think she's here. Okay, Jennifer Thorpe.
Nice to see you there, Andrew. I'm Jennifer. You all know me. On March 16th, the current administration announced 15 days to slow the spread of coronavirus. Here we are 1 year and 9 months later, talking about the same issues facing our children, whether it be masks or vaccine mandates. Most of you have been against us. Every single turn waiting, wanting them to continue online home learning, masking them endlessly, and now requiring them to undergo a medical procedure in order to attend in-person learning, date still unknown. We would like to believe that your affinity is to the health and well-being of our children, but we know that isn't always the case. You have taken the fact that we at one point were quite reasonable people. We were just regular moms and dads who were just as in the dark as everyone else, but not willing to give up our rights and allow you to run our households and push life-altering events to happen. Against our wishes, I'm assuming you didn't acquire that seat because it pays well. At some point in your trustee time, you believed you were doing the right thing. You believed the state and federal government knew what they were talking about, or so you thought. You kept our kids home for nearly a year, and although a challenging time, at least in our home it was, we saw the lack of care and concern to help the struggling student. Kids became depressed, and we stood at this podium pleading for you to listen to us, their moms, their dads, their grandparents, even their own teachers, to just do the right thing and stop the madness, but not one time did you budge. Sure, our kids went back to in-person learning only after you were sued and had no choice. Our glimmer of hope was the resolution and the mandates Andrew drafted to change the enforcement policy and to give our kids a choice, and you shot that down. It's really very tiring to have to do this every single meeting, knowing our words fall on deaf ears or just a really stubborn ego, because the only science I've ever heard comes from the science teacher one time, Mr. Wiseman. We don't expect you to change your minds about us as parents, but we do expect you to, at the very least, understand that we aren't going anywhere. Our kids mean that much to us. Before you today is a resolution to give local authority back to the districts and to modify the governor's vaccine mandate. If you vote no today on putting this resolution into practice, you're essentially telling us that our opinion about our own children does not matter. You're telling us that our rights and our ability to make decisions for our children is not important to you. If you vote no on this very reasonable offer, you are not here for the reasons that we would want you here on board for. You have not one time in the last 1 year and 9 months conceded to those that elected you. I, for one, am really just over all of this. We must look insane to you, expecting you to do the right thing from behind this podium. It's time for you to try something different. Try siding with moms and dads who know what is best for their child, but hard to accomplish. Stop thinking of the ways in which this won't work and stand over here for a change like real people. One of these days, you're going to have to put something important and precious to you in the hands of somebody else. What if that person drops the ball and squanders that responsibility? That's what we feel you are doing. You have done that for the last year and a half. Please consider doing something different.
Thank you. Lisa?
Okay, guys. Hi, my name's Miranda Grieshaber. I'm a mother to 2 school-aged children. One of them goes to Lakeside Union School District. One of them I pulled out of school a couple of months ago when I realized that she was going to be facing this vaccine mandate. I will do the same with my son. I know many parents here will do the same with their kids. We need you guys to stand up for us. We need you to vote yes on this resolution. I'm going to hand out some information here rather than standing up here for 4 minutes and talking about statistics, so you guys can do your own research. I'll show you. This one has I'm just standing up here to let you know that I support the resolution 2022-11, and I hope that you guys will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker.
Jeff E.
Check, check. Hey, my name is Jeff. I'm the father of 2. I'm here to remind all of you that you have absolutely no legal right to mandate this most deadly experimental COVID shot on our children. I'm not even going to call it a vaccine because it's actually DNA altering gene therapy. And quite frankly, it's a time-release murder weapon. In addition to being a father, I'm also a retired police sergeant. After a very long career, I know a thing or two about following a trail of leads to get to the truth. With time on my hands, I've done nothing but investigate all of this most criminal deception since March of 2020. If you haven't figured it out yet, a majority of the population has been duped, and we are in the middle of the second Holocaust. COVID was a long-planned, big scam to get the purposely misdirected population to not only accept, but to beg for these depopulation shots. I'm sorry, but that's what they are. The PCR test is a purposeful fraud with up to 97% false positives. Testing positive means absolutely nothing, but it keeps the lie going. Many of you must realize that by now. When people say trust the science, it signals blind obedience and intellectual dishonesty. It doesn't take a genius or even a 25-year cop to raise an eyebrow to companies who benefit from a health product with no long-term studies, a paper trail of adverse events, former fraud charges, purposely not revealing the ingredients, and who have complete immunity for negative consequences to those who take it. That's not conspiracy, folks. That's just common sense. Something that's been lacking in society as of late. Have you all been checking VAERS? I check it all the time. We're at over 19,000 dead and 1.8 million adverse events in just the US from these shots. And that is with only 1 to 10% reporting. This is horrific. We have thousands of doctors ringing the alarm bells, yet being censored. Is that not odd to any of you? We have several medications that work effectively, yet they're being suppressed. The hospital protocol has been what's killing folks, remdesivir specifically. Please, just employ some critical thinking before it's too late. Kids are not even at risk for COVID. Their survivability is 99.997%, for God's sake. Rady's Children's Hospital just put out a communication that the flu is more dangerous to kids. And the number of myocarditis and pericarditis in kids is staggering. This is a disgusting joke that has risen to the level of crimes against humanity. There most definitely is a second round of Nuremberg trials coming. And saying, I was just following orders, or I was just doing my job, is not going to get you out of your culpability. It won't. Do not get embroiled in this any further. Masks are already absolutely child abuse per 273A of the Penal Code. The pendulum is swinging on this genocide. Don't end up on the wrong side of history. May God bless you and help you to make the right decision.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I have two daughters who have gone on to LCAP. One graduated, and then I have two sons who unfortunately this year I made the decision to pull them from the district and homeschool due to the mask mandate decision, and as well as the, in my opinion, reprehensible decision to stop the school buses for our children. That decision just let me know that the board does not care about all the kids in the community. So, which include my kids. They don't take the bus, but that includes my kids. So I pulled them. Also, my son's exemption was revoked by the state. So now he has to get those caught up just to go to school. But knowing that this mandate was coming down the line, I just made that decision with everything I knew. So I'm just here to support the 2022-11. That's it.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Bianca Stanley?
You guys know me. I don't watch the news mentally. I can't handle it. I don't stand before you with facts because let's face the facts at this point, we aren't looking at the same ones. What I do have is firsthand experience. I was walking my son to school on Monday morning and heard a child with their dad behind them say, "Dad, I hate these masks. I can't breathe in them." And my heart shattered. I heard my son talking to his therapist on Tuesday night, saying how he didn't get to have many mask breaks because of the rain and how much he hates them. He loves school. He loves school, but he hates the mask, and there's no point. There's none. You aren't seeing or hearing or paying for firsthand the toll that your choices are making for our children. You're listening to these money-hungry idiots tell you what is right for our kids. And if you agree with them, you're even sicker than I thought. Enough is enough. How many more angry parents do you need to hear from? How has it not gotten through your thick skulls that what you are doing for our children isn't right? How many more meetings do I need to show up to fight for our kids? I have left here feeling so defeated so many times, but every month I am here with the same message, the same plea to protect our children. It's to the point that if you don't do what's right, we parents will be happy to find your replacements, because here's your reminder, you work for us. And if you'd like to still have a job next year, it's time to start making some gutsy decisions. And no matter how angry we are with the choices that you've made up until this point, I promise that most of us parents are still the army that have been here since the beginning and will support your decisions to protect our children. I am so tired of being angry. I'm tired of feeling like I'm being here every month does absolutely nothing, but our children deserve better. If it means that I can send my child to school without a mask, without fear of pop-up tents showing at my child's school, or whatever else it is that you think you need to do to manipulate my child into a vaccine on campus, I will be here every freaking month until you start doing your job that you vowed to take care of our kids and protect them.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Jessica Weekly?
I'm Jessica Weekly. This is Will. He's in second grade at Riverview. I wasn't going to say anything about the masks today. I was mostly going to speak about the vaccine mandate, but just wanted to point out the rash on his face from wearing a mask so everybody can see what it's doing to him. He's gone to the doctor. We have an exemption coming through, so you guys will be seeing that shortly. I'm here to say that I support agenda item 2022-11 in support of local decision-making authority to modify the governor's vaccine mandate. And we trust that you as the board will do what's right for the students and for the best interest and representative of the people who elected you. If this does happen, you will have complete and 100% backing. So please represent what your community has elected you to do. We're asking you to stand up for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
James Cassidy.
Hello, I'm James. I've got 2 kids in the school district. I'm here today to talk about the vaccination mandate. I'm here to help maybe potentially educate you on some of this information that you need to know, do your due diligence to research. Dr. Taylor and I have had several different discussions about some of this information you're going to hear today. If you haven't heard it from her, I would definitely reach out to her because she probably should have given you this information already. If you decide to try to vaccinate or try to mandate the vaccination, you must know that there's only potentially one shot that the kids could get, and that could be the Pfizer vaccination, because that is the one that's potentially FDA approved. And I say potentially because we can discuss that later. But that vaccination from Pfizer that is mandated, theoretically, potentially mandated, is the Comirnaty vaccination. There are 2 Pfizer vaccinations. If you don't know that there are 2 Pfizer vaccinations, you should recuse yourself or delay any vote until you can educate yourself properly. Okay. The original one that came out under the EAU, if you don't know what that is by now, you should definitely recuse yourself, which is the emergency use authorization, which you mentioned earlier today. That is the one that you cannot mandate under the Nuremberg Code, under experimental medication, and that is subject to the Nuremberg Code international law. You cannot mandate that without informed consent. So what has happened is the FDA potentially has approved the Comirnaty. See, it was separated by Pfizer legally in court to have 2 different vaccinations. One under the EAU, BioNTech, B-I-O, capital N, capital T-E-C-H. Should be writing that down so you can research it later. The other one's Comirnaty. Don't ask me how to spell it, but you can Google it, it'll come up. So Pfizer has separated the 2 legally because they can't mandate the emergency use authorization BioNTech. So they created a separate legal one. That's called the Comirnaty. Now that one you could potentially mandate. Now there's some confusion between that because under the BLA, and if you don't know what that is, you need to educate yourself what a BLA is. That is the biological licensing application. There's confusion, right? So I understand you wanted to do some research on this to find out clarity within your legal team to find out what a BLA is. And if this vaccination has actually been approved, the Comirnaty, or just the application under the BLA has been approved. See, all this information should be at the tip of your tongue. You should know all this information if you've done your due diligence and understand that these 2 vaccinations. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and you're going to try to mandate vaccinations, that is shameful. That is uneducated, and you do not deserve to be in the position you're in. If the legal team or any of you individually would like to reach out to me, I'm readily available. Dr. Taylor knows. I'll be as cordial as possible, and I'll help you through the process of actually supplying links and information directly from the CDC website, directly from the FDA website, where it shows conflicting information on their documents out today, where it talks about approved Comirnaty, but yet it's under the BLA, not approved, like on the same page. Like, it's fascinating. The reason why they do this is because they can remove themselves from any potential liability, obviously, but any potential knowledge, saying that you guys have done it on your own. We didn't actually force mandate that, like the mask mandate today. There's actually no mask mandate, but you all follow along because you heard it on the news. If you do your research in this position, especially when you're dealing with children, the most precious things we have in this universe, you need to do your research or step down. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Jenny Hensley.
Hi there. My name is Jenny Hensley. I am new to the area. We moved in about 5 months ago from El Dorado County, which is in Northern California. I have 4 boys, and that is of particular importance because of the likelihood of myocarditis for boys specifically. So I'll talk about that later. But I will tell you, I founded Freedom Keepers United. It's an organization. We started fighting for medical freedom in 2019. We now have 46 chapters over the United States and in 8 different countries, specifically Australia. And if you look at any of the news, you'll see Freedom Keepers all over people's chests because it is a very big movement there. We have 2 federal lawsuits right now, one including a lawsuit against the Department of Defense in support of the military being fired because of this mandate. That being said, I will tell you that I have a vaccine injured son. He regressed in 4 weeks from his one and only vaccine because I was hesitant. I was pressured into it, and he regressed from a 15-month-old normal child into the equivalence of a 2-week-old baby within 4 weeks. Stopped walking, stopped speaking, stopped looking at me, responding, and would only flap his arms. Now they call that a coincidence because he does have the label of autism. So it's a coincidence now. That being said, I have 2 topics I'd like to speak on. I wasn't going to speak on masks, but I will tell you that my son, who is nonverbal, has a mask exemption when we came to this district. I noticed right off the bat that every single special needs child had a mask on. This blew my mind, people. This blew my mind. I gave them my exemption, and it took 7 times of my son being walked out with a mask on again for me to have to call in and threaten a lawsuit. I have no problem with lawsuits. I've won 2 very large lawsuits, and it just took me explaining that with a lot of swear words that I would take suit, but it should not have taken 7 times after I gave the exemption to continue to have to tell people to remove the mask off my autistic nonverbal son. So that being said, we can do better. I would encourage you, I know actually that the masks aren't going anywhere, but I would encourage you, every child under the 504 Act who has an IEP or a 504 not only has the protection that they do not have to wear a mask, but they should be encouraged by you to not have a mask on. They all have communication problems, delays, deficits. Do you think wearing a mask for these children is appropriate? It is not appropriate. Going back to the mandate, I realize you feel like your hands are restricted. I realize that the county is all over you. I realize the state is going to threaten you with taking away funds. I understand that. I sympathize with that. I actually am new to this area, so I actually feel like there's probably a lot of you that feel the same way we do, and I'm going to come into that with that feeling. However, I want you to know that there are counties standing up. There are school districts standing up right now. Rescue Union School District in Northern California is standing up. They have a letter that they have written to the governor saying, we are not enforcing this. We do not have the funds to enforce this. We are losing 40% of our students in the next 6 months if we do enforce this. So what I'm telling you is you actually do have the power to stand up. Each of you have the responsibility to stand up. I know that it is scary and it is hard, but we do have that opportunity to rise above. That being said, coming back to the fact that I do have 4 boys.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, your 4 minutes is up.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, if you do have boys, there is a 14 times greater risk of developing myocarditis. If we want to look at individual students, just like we do with disabled students with IEPs, individualized education plan, we need to look at the individuals. Each individual has a risk, and especially for boys, 14 times the risk, greater than COVID itself.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is on Zoom, so you're gonna have to put your earphones into here. Amanda? Oh, they'll be able to hear. Never mind, you'll be able to hear up here.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Amanda.
Perfect. So the gentleman that went before Sarah, amen. You basically took my speech. So James, please grab that guy's number. It was amazing. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Basically, I just want to encourage you to take the least intrusive approach when it comes to areas outside of education and the scope of the board's expertise. Medical decisions are between a family and a child and a doctor of their choosing. At this time, without the mandate, you will not lose families, students, or teachers by keeping things the same. But you do stand to lose many students and families if a mandate is forced. And we're all seeing how that's playing out in districts like LA Unified and San Diego Unified. It's a nightmare. We do not need that type of litigious battle in our district. Ultimately, we will lose because the law is on our side and nonprofits are ready. And I will be the first in line to support any legal actions taken to protect that medical sovereignty. If there are parents out there that still think COVID poses a threat to children, then they've already had the opportunity to get the shot. And based on that belief, they should be protected. I recently wrote a book called 1, 2, 3, No Mask for Me, which is essentially to encourage children to stand up for their sovereignty, their beliefs, and rise against bullying, which unfortunately is also coming from many trusted adults. And I just want to read a quote from the dedication in that book by Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. So for everyone feeling discouraged, keep coming. The light is shining. We are rising. I am more empowered than ever. This is shedding contrast on a system that needed to fall. And I am feeling very optimistic. I was able to volunteer for 30 minutes in my second grader's holiday shop yesterday. First time I've stepped onto a campus in 3 school years. We are moving in the right direction. Oh, excuse me, my 4th grade son, 2nd grade is tomorrow, as he's shouting at me from behind me. We're moving forward. Let's keep it going. Let's stand together and we all have common sense. Like just, we know what to do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker. That concludes public comment. Unless we have a speaker. Oh. We needed to fill out the card.
My name is Jennifer Harkness. I didn't come here to speak. It's my first time. But I have 3 kids in the district. Well, actually one's not right now, but I just want to say my son, once he came back to school, started stuttering. Even his teacher, Mr. Nielsen at Lindo Park, was like, hey, what's wrong? Like, he wasn't like this before. And all I can figure, it's the mask and the airflow and the fear. They'd be on the playground, the teacher, the playground people would say, pull up your mask so you get a timeout. You're gonna get a behavior slip. Like the fear that goes with it and the bullying that goes with these masks is just, it's beyond. You know, they come home and they're kind of okay, but they're not the same kids that they were before masks. And I get it, COVID has, you know, a lot of things that have come with it. But my family we just got over COVID in November. And now one of my children, we were all over them. We did not isolate each other. We figured, let's just do it, get it done. A sniffly nose, maybe. A sniffly nose. Caleb tested positive. He had no symptoms whatsoever. So I guess they call that asymptomatic, but 4 children in my household, my husband and I were down and not one of my kids got sick, got anything. And I'm not saying kids aren't sick and dying, but overall, the kids that I've known that are in the households with COVID have not gotten ill. And I just don't think it's fair that our children are masked all day, every day and yelled at and threatened to get in trouble because their mask falls below their nose. I also wanted to say that I'm not sure exactly how many students you have in the district, but if you start to mandate these shots, and like everybody has said, I guarantee you most of those students will pull out. I can guarantee it because it's too scary for us as parents to even comprehend doing that to our children. I'm sorry, I didn't have anything prepared. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for your comment. That concludes public comment. I will now move to the agenda item on public hearings. So we will have a public hearing with regards to the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association, and it's chapter 240 relating to the Classified School Employees Summer Assistance Program. It's an information hearing. And do we have any speakers on that? No? Okay. Moving along. We will have a public hearing. On the governing board will conduct a hearing to receive input regarding proposed energy services agreement with Climate Tech LLC. Do we have any speakers on this item? Okay. We will now move to adoption is requested for a resolution number 2022-12 to approve energy services agreement with Climate Tech LLC. I will entertain a motion.
I second.
I need a primary motion. Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. My apologies. So moved. Okay. Seconded. Okay. Vote. Call and vote. Clerk LaChapa. Aye. Okay. Approved. All right. We will now designate our consent agenda items. So I need a motion to designate the items to the consent agenda. Okay, let's call a vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay, and now, is there anything anyone would like to pull? I would like to pull 2.4, 4.7, and 4.6. Any other items that anyone would like to pull? Okay. Then I will speak first on item 2.4, which is the adoption requested of supporting local decision-making authority and oh, I need a motion. Thank you for that. Thank you. See, thank you. And by the way, I appreciate the grace. So I appreciate the grace. Thank you, Cup. So I need a motion to approve all but 2.4, 4.6, 4.7 to. Oh. Okay, Bonnie seconds that motion. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we will speak to 2.4. So I wanted just to speak to this item. This is the vaccination mandate resolution that we have on our agenda this evening. And I am going to make a motion to support this resolution. And so I'll ask for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, second. All right, discussion.
Far more than just the vaccination mandate. There's a lot of information in there, and I want to thank Dr. Taylor and Jennifer for bringing it to begin with. So there's a lot of it.
Yes.
And I
Thank you, Trustee Fronte. Any other discussion?
Yeah, there are a lot of, like Holly was saying, there are a lot of things in here that are really important, like making schools safe, emotionally supportive, and making kids in in-person environments. And talking about the immune response after getting COVID, like you said, your 4 kids had COVID, and so their immunity is high, much higher than somebody that hasn't had COVID. And it's about, can be close in sometimes to people that have been vaccinated. I'm not an expert on viruses, even though I was a science teacher and a biology major and did science for 40 years as a teacher and science program specialist and stuff. But my understanding is even if we approve this resolution, that if we don't make the mandates, people are saying, we don't listen to you, but we as a board don't make the mandates. The health departments do, the people in control of hopefully they're listening to epidemiologists and people that understand and know what is going on. So I think what we need to do is, as a board, and we're legally responsible to do, or we can lose our insurance or other things, is follow whatever comes down and says we have to do for the protection of all kids. I know masks are not fun to wear. I'm sure we're not always going up and wearing masks, but we know, and I understand people's concerns about vaccination. And I know parents want control of that, but we don't make those rules. We just have to, as a board, decide whether we're going to enforce them. Once mandated by the state, we don't mandate, they mandate. So this resolution, my understanding that's still going to happen. If it's mandated, this resolution doesn't say that we're going to buck that and not do that. And so I don't have any problems with the resolution saying that we're not going to, like LA Unified and San Diego Unified, say kids have to be vaccinated before the mandate comes down.
LA pulled that back.
But hopefully with time we'll see that there are more options for parents, because we don't want to leave your kids in our district. I was in the business of teaching and educating for 40 years. And as a science teacher and a STEM principal, I have to go with the science. And right now, what I'm hearing, even though you're telling me other things about data and other things, one kid is losing their life over this one thing. So
Yeah, they get shot at and they die every 1 2 minutes.
Excuse me, folks, thank you. Let the trustee speak.
So right now, I've been giving it a lot of thought whether I'm in support of this resolution or not. But since it doesn't say that we're not going to follow the mandates of the experts in the medical field and health code, I don't have any problem with it as it stands.
Okay. Any other discussion? I'd like to make a few comments on this. I don't know if Laura, were you going to make comments, or I didn't want to cut you off. I thought I heard you say something. Okay, I want to make a few comments on this. One, I fully support this resolution for numerous reasons. This is more than just a resolution that says to the governor that you must provide local control back to school districts. That is the core challenge that we are facing, is the governor has given no clear instruction on what this even looks like. And in fact, LA Unified is backing down. In fact, LA Unified is saying we need to look at this. Governor Newsom was on a book tour and he was talking about how LA Unified is backing off and maybe other districts might need to do the same thing. So what this resolution is doing is saying, Governor, clarify for us what we need to do. Because it's very clear that Sacramento's got it all twisted and is not really being helpful to school districts, and they're taking away our local control. Let us make local control based on our local conditions for our local families. That is what this resolution is speaking to in many different ways. What Trustee Wiseman was alluding to in his comments, and they're thoughtful, and I agree in part, is the legislature could make this vaccine required in legislation, just like SB 277 did in 2015 with the list of 10 vaccinations required for schooling. So this resolution highlights that. It also highlights the challenges that logistically we are having in school districts. One, if we lose students, we lose teachers, and quality education of our students suffers. So this is focused on quality education as well. So I'm in full support of this resolution for our families, our students. So that's my speech. So is there any other discussion? No other discussion? Okay, I will call the vote. All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous support. Okay. On to 4.6, which was requested by staff to pull. No, I'm sorry. My mistake. This is item 4.6 is the donations to the district. I just wanted to thank those who donated to the district, Frank and Cindy Hilliker, who donated socks for students at Lindo Park, and then Snap Raise donated numerous thousands from fundraising efforts at TDS. So I wanted to thank all the donors. So, any other discussion on that? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now item 4.7. This was requested by staff to pull. Just letter I. Just letter I. Let me identify letter I. There it is. Okay. So do we need to speak to that, Rhonda, Dr. Taylor?
I don't know what the question is.
So we pulled 4.7I.
Yeah.
And so I just want
I'll make a motion to approve 4.7 except for I.
except for I.
School staffing resolution.
And what is the
Tabling that?
There's none. I was just asking for clarity on the reason for it being pulled.
That's because we don't need to service anymore, we're
Oh, okay. I don't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't clear on my question, but that was my question, just to explain the reason for it being pulled. And then, okay, so there's a motion. Is there a second? Okay, excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Not
I kept quiet on it.
Okay, excellent. Those are all the items being pulled. All right, move to, let's see, discussion items. So we have a first reading of the Administrative Regulation 3350, travel expenses. Does anyone have any comments or questions on that for staff? Yep, pretty regular. Okay, that'll come back to us. How about the first reading requested of Board Policy Administrative Regulation 5141.4, child abuse prevention and reporting? Any questions with respect to that item? Okay, it will return to us. The first reading is requested of Board Policy 5145.12, searches and seizure. Any questions on that? Okay, coming back to us. And a first reading is requested of Board Policy Administrative Regulation 5148, childcare and development. Any comments or concerns, questions? Okie dokie. Moving on. We have an informational item, enrollment report. Lisa.
Yeah, they're getting a few, but it's still staying, somewhat stable, a little tiny bit of growth, but we'll take it. But
Excellent. Thank you. All right. We will move to our union representative reports. Dave Myers with the CSCA. Hi, Dave.
So I wanted to say, trustees and our wonderful management team, I don't have a whole lot to say, but I wanted to come down in person, and it's been quite interesting. It's been a while since I've been here in person. Wanted to say we had a wonderful negotiation session today with Miss Lisa Davis, and look forward to that in the future. Communication was good. I'm very excited, very excited. Summer Assistance Program, thank you very much. We have lots and lots of employees that take advantage of that, and they are, I keep getting more and more questions about it, and we covered that today in our meeting, and I look forward to reporting out that the district is taking advantage of that again. So thank you very much. I don't have a whole lot more. Everything's going pretty good. Bonnie, Holly, Dawn, Laura, Andrew. Haven't seen you guys in a while, and well, I saw you. So I need to communicate with you guys a little more and see everyone. I know everyone's been busy. So for everything, happy holidays to everybody. Enjoy the break, and we'll get back at it in January when we come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. All right. We will now move on to our district superintendents, starting with Lisa Davis.
I'll unmute. Yeah, remembering. Yeah, as Dave mentioned, we've had a very busy last 2 days. Yesterday, we met with LTA in bargaining, and today with CSCA. We're very positive and very appreciative of both bargaining teams. Tomorrow, I'm happy to say that a lot of staff are getting up very early in the morning to help our child nutrition department pass out approximately 1,000 meals to families in need. It's a meal for the whole break. So super proud of that. And 6:30, 6:45. And I think the families are going to be driving through between 7 and 9, I think somewhere around there. But yeah.
Last year was freezing. Hands and everything. Yeah.
And I want to take this opportunity because our next board meeting, we won't have that. But as you know, Shannon Johnston is a fabulous opportunity to work in another place. Her heart was broken leaving here, but it's just a great opportunity out of state that her and her husband gets to move to their dream destination. And so she'll be leaving us. But so I just want to let the board know and Superintendent Taylor that she's just been a gem in my short time, and I really appreciate her work for this. I want to publicly acknowledge that she'll be greatly missed. And Todd's running around putting out fires, and Brian, and thank you, Andrew. And our business office is plugging away and doing an outrageous amount of reporting that the state legislature seems to like to hand down reports now for every bit of funding that we get. So it takes up quite a bit of our time anymore. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Dr. Kim Reed.
The district-wide PLC, and during that PLC, the principals really did a fabulous job of leading the district-wide work, where they pulled teacher teams together by grade level, and they looked at pieces of student work from the performance test, the first performance test that our district has written. The conversations that I've heard were just amazing. The principals did an incredible job facilitating the conversation, and the teachers are having some really in-depth, really thoughtful conversations about what our students were able to do and what our students were potentially missing. We looked at trends across student groups, talked about some instruction, and then reflected on the actual task itself, which is really getting our district to be in this like recursive plan, do, study, act model, where we're putting something in place, knowing that it's not perfect. We're taking a look at the results. We're providing some input, making some changes, and trying it again and so what happens is that that process just perfects itself, and then we start to scale it up. It's super exciting. The challenge for our teachers has been to not be such a perfectionist, to understand that this is a work in progress, and they've done a really great job at that, and to not really not put a grade on everything. This is an opportunity for us to look at student work without requiring a rubric score for something, although that's coming. So they did a fabulous job, and again, the principals did an incredible job too. I want to tell you about the January 14th PD Day that's coming up. We'll have 2 strands. One of those strands will be around our district's multi-tiered system of support for academics. We've developed a universal screener to identify students that are at risk for additional or need potentially additional support. We've developed piloted and implemented intervention tools, and we'll take our teachers in depth through all of those tools. We put progress monitoring tools in place to determine if those interventions are successful. So we'll take teachers through all that. That'll be one strand, and the other strand will be building the second performance task. And then we'll finish the day with the Infinite Campus new grade book. So I'm excited for that day. It should be fun.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions?
No, I just want to comment that I know the RTI is still work as identifying kids or trying to get tier 1 support for our kids. So if we could get them up to grade level at tier 1, so they don't have to go to tier 2, and then maybe for IEP or special ed, so I really appreciate that work that we're going to do to identify and try to intervene before it's too late. I know we want them all reading at grade level by 3rd grade, so I know that it's important.
Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Rhonda Taylor.
I would like to show some pictures on the TV. I need some. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would like to share my screen, please. It says it's in use currently, so I think we're up there. I'll just share the screen. That's what you're saying to me. Got you. Okay, I know what I'm doing. Okay. Hang on. Okay. And there we go. I'm getting there. So I just wanted to talk about some of the things that we have done this month. It feels like, I can't believe this month is only halfway done because it feels like we've done so much just in the last 3 weeks. But one thing that we are working on right now as a team is the leadership transition, where we brought in the San Diego County Office of Education. A survey was sent out to the staff, and I want to play from the start. And the responses to the survey were gathered and brought together, and then they were sorted out according to themes, and to see what themes popped up, just kind of to take a temperature of where we are as a district and what our culture is like right now, where we need to do some work and what's going really well. So it was our strengths, what do we need to address, and how do we want to move forward with addressing that. So on Monday, a team of 10 people came in here to the district office, and they worked all day, and they sorted this stuff out, and then they brainstormed some ideas around this about how to solve some of the problems that were coming up, how to promote some of those strengths that we had, how to make those really, get them out into the community so that we could really toot our horn a little bit. And so we came together and we decided that we were going to take this information to, and Dave Myers was, he's not still in here. Yes, he is. Dave was there. And Bonnie was part of this too. And it was a really good day. I think they said it was a really good day.
It was very interesting
And Lisa was in the room as well. So what we're going to do in January is create a podcast together with this team so that we can communicate it out to all of the staff that took part in the survey, because if somebody's going to take the time to fill out a survey, they're going to want to know what you're doing with the results of that survey. And then we will be developing a plan. We're going to send out another survey because we like them, which will just rank. We're going to put everything that came in and what's on our charts, and then we're going to have the staff rank them in order of importance so that we can pull out what it is they feel we need to address first, second, and so on. And we're going to create a plan for addressing those topics with our staff so that we're making sure that we are the best that we can be in this district and that we're all working together to move that train in the same direction. So it was good. I think it happened really nicely. Does anybody have any questions about that process? Okay. Okay, thank you, David, for being a part, and Bonnie. Yeah, it is. Anytime you're hearing that and you're doing growing is stressful, so yeah.
Actually, Rhonda, I do have a quick question. I have been hearing some folks that say, you know, how are we going to take this work and some of the things we learned and move forward with it?
And that's exactly why we're doing the podcast and informing these groups and then creating a plan together so that it's not, well, Rhonda says this, it's the team says this, the team is moving together. And so we'll decide that together and then we'll keep working on it. It's going to take us some time. It won't be a 1-month program. This will probably take us a couple of years to get through everything. Okay. So one thing I wanted to highlight was the drive-through reclassification ceremony. And so Terry, I had to be at another meeting and I was bummed I had to miss this, but I know that many of you were there. But I loved this picture that she took, and I just wanted to share that, of all of the schools and their mascots out there celebrating our students who are reclassified as English speakers. So that was a lot of fun. And then I just wanted to shout out Riverview today. It was so fun. I was over there today and they had this team had a cart full of little pine trees that were frosted and things. And they had this big boom box that they were walking through the school with, and they stopped at each classroom and called the teacher out, and the teacher got to pick a pine tree for their class. And it was just really a lot of fun. And just when we have so much negativity sometimes around us, just to see those joyous moments and the kids so excited about picking their tree and the teacher excited about picking the tree. And it was just a fun day at Riverview. So I wanted to shout them out. And I just wanted to say thank you, Holly, for your 2 years of being the board president. You've done an amazing job. So, and then to everybody else, have a great week and happy holidays.
Okay. Any final comments from the board? Trustee Fronte.
I meant to include it earlier. Thank you to Shannon, because she worked really hard and put a really good time here, and I wish her well in Idaho.
Yeah.
Where it snows.
Yeah,
And
a lot.
It doesn't snow
I
here.
know. Wish her the best. We're going to miss her. Well, I do also want to congratulate Felicia Walton as well for her appointment to the Bond Oversight Committee tonight. So congratulations. And with that, I want to thank my colleagues for the grace that you provided me this evening. I promise I'll get it straight next month. Yep.
Yeah.
I'd like to just thank Holly also for her leadership and being the new board member, and for her support as a new board member and trying to get me up to snuff. And so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Agreed. All right. Well, if nothing else before us, meeting's adjourned.